Okay, so this video is kind of going over distance. We're in the middle of the hurricane unit, and we want to calculate how far away something is, and also how long it's going to take to get to us. So in this case, we're not using there's a distance formula for distance between 2 points. That we're gonna use a Pythagorean theorem for that. But what we're doing with this one is we want the basic formula that you have in physics, which says the distance is equal to the rate times the time, or sometimes they'll put speed times time. So distance equals speed times time. Okay, so this is handy if we know there is a hurricane in the Gulf. So like, let's say there's a hurricane right here. We'll make it mean. Let's see, here's a mean face. Grrr, this is a hurricane, it's got fangs. And it's coming towards us. Now we want to know, first off, we want to know how far away it is, but really we don't care how far away it is so much. We want to know when it is going to get here. So we're going to use this distance equals speed times time formula. So usually, like if you've done a few calculations, or we're going to be looking at hurricane charts, a lot of times maybe you'll know the distance and you'll know the speed and you want to know when it's going to get there. Let me put in a picture. Okay, so here's a good example. So this is from 2017. This was Hurricane Jose. So Hurricane Jose is going along, and when the National Weather Service or the National Hurricane Center puts out information on these storms, usually what they'll say is they'll give you the coordinates, and then they'll say movement, let's say 12 knots or 12 miles per hour. A knot, by the way, is a nautical mile. We talk, that's not K-N-O-T. So we talk more about that in the distance video. But they'll usually give you the speed. And then they'll also give you the location. Well, from its location, like let's say it was headed for this point here. So if we know our location and we know where Jose is, then we can calculate the distance. And that's a different video, but let's say we know that. Let's say Jose is 400 miles away. So in this case, we know the distance. The Hurricane Center gives us the speed. Or like if you watch the news and they give you updates, they always give you the location of the storm, and they always give you which direction it's traveling and also how fast. So the location you can find by using the coordinates, the speed they give you. What we really want to know is, okay, well, when is it going to get here, and when do I need to leave if I'm going to evacuate, right? Or how long do I have to get my house ready so that I don't have a bunch of stuff in my yard that can fly around and break windows and stuff. So in this case, we're going to take this and we're going to plug that into our distance formula, except that as it is right now, we have distance equals speed times time, right? And we want time. So if we're going to do that, if we want to find time, first we got to get it by itself. Okay. So anytime you have a formula, in this case this, we can move it around, right? So we have on this side, t is what we want, but right now it's not by itself, and we need to get it by itself so that we can solve it. So right now it's being multiplied by s, right? If you have two letters and they're right next to each other like x, y, this means that they're multiplied. So s times t is on this right side, d is on the other side. We want t by itself, so to get rid of multiplication, we do the opposite. So to get rid of a multiply, we divide. But if we divide on one side, we have to divide on the other side too. Okay, so on the right side then, s divided by s is just a 1, right? S divided by s equals 1. That's kind of a identity property, I think is what it's called. Like 10 divided by 10 is 1. Anything divided by itself is just 1. So S divided by S cancels out, makes a 1. Well, we don't have to write 1 times t, it's just t. So then now we have d over s on one side and we have t on the other. Now t is by itself, so we just plug in the numbers that we know right here. So from our Jose example, we had Jose was 400 miles away. The speed was 12 miles per hour. Let me put the unit on there. 400 miles. Speed was 12 miles an hour. So we want to know time, so we go, okay, time equals distance divided by speed. So I just plug that in. So I have 400 miles on the top. I have 12 miles per hour on the bottom. Well, miles per hour, let me blow your mind here. This is miles per hour. We're dividing, if you just look at the unit, miles is going to cancel out, right? Miles divided by miles just divides and makes a 1. And now you've got this hours is in the bottom of a fraction, but it's like in a bottom of a fraction in the bottom of a fraction. It's like inception, right? So when you divide by a fraction, the denominator flips up to the top. So this divides out. We get 400 divided by 12, and our unit is going to be hours. So now we pull out our phone, we go, okay, 400 divided by 12. And that gives me 33.333333 hours. So that's how long it would take the storm to get to me. So basically the whole idea then is if we have this distance formula, distance equals rate times time or distance equals speed times time, we can get any of these by themselves. So we can have distance by itself. We can switch it around and we can say, okay, well, time is distance divided by speed. And if we need to know the speed, we can just divide both sides by t. So that would be speed would be distance divided by t instead. So those are the 3 variations, but they're all the same thing. And then whatever we know, we're just going to plug the 2 things that we know in to get the third thing. Okay, that's our distance.